I am Elena Carter. I once stood beneath the lights of the opera house, playing the White Swan. But in real life, the one who tried to turn my staged death into reality was my own sister. The moment Marcus held the test results in his hands, I saw the truth. Mercury was coursing through my blood, and the person standing beside him, smiling sweetly, was the very one who had poisoned me. Before I share my story, tell me where you're watching from in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you've ever endured the pain of being betrayed by your own family. Trust me, you'll want to hear what happens next. The wedding invitation arrived on a Tuesday. Gold-embossed letters on cream cardstock, so elegant it made my fingers tremble. Marcus Chen and Isabella Rodriguez request the honor of your presence. I set down my coffee cup too hard. Brown liquid splashed across the invitation, bleeding into my sister's name like the tears I wouldn't let fall. 5 years since our divorce, and here was Marcus, marrying Isabella. My sister, the one who nearly killed me. I ran my fingers along the ballet bar in my Seattle studio, studying myself the way I've done 1,000 times before. Outside, rain drums against the windows. Nothing like the harsh Chicago winters where this all began. My students will arrive soon for their afternoon class, but right now, I need to remember. I need to tell someone, even if it's just myself, what really happened. It started with thunderous applause at the Chicago Opera House in 2019. I was Odette in Swan Lake, dying beautifully on stage as I'd done dozens of times. But that night was different. When I took my final bow, a man in the orchestra section wasn't clapping. He was simply watching, dark eyes fixed on me like I was a puzzle he needed to solve. Marcus found me at the stage door an hour later. Not with flowers like the others, with a thermos of hot chocolate and a knowing smile. "You looked cold up there," he said. "All that white tulle and no warmth." I should have recognized the warning then. How did he know I was always freezing after performances? Who told him I preferred hot chocolate to champagne? But loneliness makes you stupid, and I'd been alone for so long. He wasn't like the Wall Street types who usually pursued ballerinas, those men who wanted arm candy for galas. Marcus ran a medical technology empire, but he talked about saving lives the way I talked about dance, with reverence, with hunger. 3 months later, he was taking ballet classes, private ones, in secret, preparing for my birthday. The video Isabella sent me later, during the trial, showed him stumbling through basic positions, face scrunched in concentration. Even poisoned by hate, I couldn't help but smile at his terrible turnout. Isabella was 19 then, pre-med at Northwestern, all ambition and sharp edges hidden under designer casualness. My half-sister, though only Mom and I knew that truth. Dad's mistake, Mom called her once, after too much wine. But Mom raised her anyway when Isabella's birth mother died. Raised her better than she raised me, if I'm honest. I was already 8, already difficult. Isabella was a blank slate for Mom's second chance at perfect motherhood. "He's good for you," Isabella said that Thanksgiving, watching Marcus help me ice my swollen feet. "You deserve someone who sees past the tutus." The first sign something was wrong came wrapped in kindness. After my miscarriage, slipping on our mysteriously oiled stairs, Isabella moved in to help. She brought special teas from boutique shops, organic vitamins in unmarked bottles, lotions from Swiss companies with websites that would later turn out to be fake. "You need to build your strength back up," she'd say, pressing another cup of tea into my hands. The liquid was always slightly bitter, but she'd add honey, so much honey, until I could pretend it was sweet. The dizzy spells started small. A wobble in rehearsal, a missed cue. Then came opening night of Giselle, when the stage lights blurred into stars and I fell in front of 800 people. The thud of my body hitting the floor echoed through the opera house. They said later you could hear the collective gasp from the lobby. Marcus hired specialists, neurologists, endocrinologists, psychiatrists who spoke in soothing voices about stress and trauma and the pressure of perfection. None of them found anything wrong because none of them tested for mercury. Why would they? Mercury poisoning belonged in Victorian novels, not Lincoln Park penthouses. It was Carlos who saved me, a night nurse at Northwestern Memorial who spent his breaks watching ballet videos on his phone. He recognized the tremor in my hands, the specific way my muscles betrayed me. "I've seen this before," he whispered during a midnight round, glancing nervously at the door. "In my hometown, the factory workers, Mercury. The test results came back on a Thursday. Isabella was in my room, rubbing that Swiss lotion into my hands, telling Marcus how concerned she was about my delusions. The numbers on the paper made Carlos's face go white, 40 times the normal level, enough to kill me slowly, carefully, deniably. She's making it up, Isabella said calmly when I showed Marcus the results. She'd already prepared fake invoices, a whole website for the Swiss company, testimonials from other users. Elena's sick, Marcus, but not how she thinks. The twist in my gut when Marcus's face softened toward her, when he chose her story over my truth. That hurt worse than the poison. Carlos found me crying in the hospital bathroom at 3 a.m. "There's something else," he said quietly. "I know because Isabella hired me to watch you, to report your symptoms." His hands shook as badly as mine. "I didn't know it would go this far. I thought she just wanted to scare you." The betrayal should have broken me. Instead, it crystallized something. If everyone wanted to believe I was crazy, I'd be crazy. Beautifully, strategically crazy. I checked myself into the psychiatric ward voluntarily, played the part of the delusional ballerina, while Carlos, guilty, desperate Carlos, helped me document everything. He had access Isabella didn't know about. Recordings of her ordering specific compounds, text messages discussing dosages, a paper trail of attempted murder dressed up as sisterly concern. The night I watched them on the hacked security feed, Isabella crying on Marcus's shoulder about her poor, sick sister, I found Mom's last letter, hidden in the lining of her jewelry box, dated a week before her heart attack. Elena, my fierce girl. Isabella knows about her father, has known for years. She threatened to kill herself when she was 15 if I told anyone. I chose her life over your truth. Forgive me, protect yourself. She's not what she seems. Mom knew and said nothing and died carrying the weight of it. I played my recovery like a Tchaikovsky crescendo, slowly, deliberately, with perfect timing. Agreed to the divorce Marcus wanted. Signed papers giving up claims to his fortune, became the tragic ex-wife he needed me to be while Isabella positioned herself as his savior. "I'm moving to Costa Rica," I told them during my final supervised visit. "Somewhere quiet, somewhere I can't hurt anyone." Isabella actually smiled. What she didn't know, Carlos had found others. 3 women over 5 years, all involved with men Isabella wanted, all dead by suicide, all with mysterious illnesses first. We spent 4 months building the case. Me, supposedly in Costa Rica, but actually in a cabin in Montana. Carlos, drowning in guilt, but determined to make it right. A detective who specialized in medical murders, videos, recordings, bank statements, chemical orders, a symphony of evidence orchestrated to play at exactly the right moment. The night before Isabella's wedding to Marcus, I sent her a gift, a music box that played Swan Lake. Inside, a single photo. Me, alive, standing outside the courthouse. She ran. Of course she ran. They caught her at O'Hare with a ticket to Switzerland, the real one this time. The trial was a circus. Ballet World scandal meets tech dynasty meets murder plot. Isabella, always so controlled, screaming that I'd ruined her life, that I'd stolen everything from her. First our mother's love, then Marcus, then her freedom. "You had everything," she sobbed on the stand. "The talent, the beauty, the man I loved. I just wanted something that was mine." "So, you tried to take my life," I said quietly. The jury deliberated for 3 hours, guilty on all counts, 25 to life. Marcus found me after. Thin, hollow-eyed, clutching medical files. Stage 4 pancreatic cancer, 6 months, maybe 8. "I'm sorry," he said. "I should have believed you." "Yes," I said. "You should have." He's created a foundation in my name. Millions for domestic violence victims. For women whose truth isn't believed. It won't save him, but maybe it'll save someone else. Which brings me back to this invitation. Prison stationery dressed up in wedding finery. Isabella's last game, pretending she won something. I teach now. Little girls in pink tights who dream of being swans. I tell them stories while they stretch. About strength, about trusting themselves, about how sometimes the person who hurts you most is the one who shares your blood. Carlos comes to the recitals. We don't talk about love. We talk about survival, about guilt, about the weight of almost. He saved me, and I saved him from becoming the monster Isabella wanted him to be. That's enough. More than enough. My hands are steady now. The mercury is gone, leaving only scars on my liver and memories that taste like bitter tea. I can't dance professionally anymore. The damage went too deep, but I can teach. I can create beauty from broken things, the way Mom taught me before she died, keeping deadly secrets. The invitation goes in the trash, coffee stains and all. Let Isabella play pretend in her cell. I have a class to teach, bills to pay, a life rebuilt from poison and lies. The rain has stopped. Seattle's sunshine breaks through the clouds, warming the studio mirrors. Soon, 15 little girls will burst through that door, chattering about school and boys and whether they can please wear their hair in buns like real ballerinas. I'll tell them yes. I'll help them pin every bobby pin, spray every flyaway. I'll teach them first position, second, third, the foundation of everything beautiful and strong. And when they ask if I was really a famous ballerina, if I really danced at the Chicago Opera House, I'll smile and say yes. I'll tell them I was Odette, the white swan, that I died on stage every night and came back to life for the curtain call, that someone tried to make that death real, permanent, but I survived. I won't tell them the whole truth. How my Odile wasn't a black swan, but my own sister. How the prince chose wrong in real life too. How sometimes the story doesn't end with true love's kiss, but with handcuffs and trials and learning to breathe again. They're too young for that truth. Let them believe in fairy tales a little longer. Marcus sent a letter last week. His handwriting is shaky now. Nothing like the confident signatures on our divorce papers. He's leaving me everything in his will. The fortune he chose over me, the company he protected instead of his wife, all of it will be mine when he's gone. I wrote back with 2 words. Give it to the foundation. I don't want his money. I never did. I wanted him to catch me when I fell, not on stage, but in our home, poisoned by someone we both trusted. He failed. Money can't fix that kind of broken, but it can build shelters, fund lawyers, pay for the kind of testing that finds mercury in a young woman's blood before it's too late. If his guilt needs a purpose, let it save someone else's life. The studio door chimes. Little voices float up the stairs. Miss Elena, look, I practiced my releve. This is my life now. Not the spotlight at the Chicago Opera House, not the penthouse with marble stairs, not the sister who loved me enough to try to kill me, or the husband who loved his reputation more than my truth. Just this, small hands in mine, tiny feet finding their balance, the next generation of swans, learning to fly. Gather round, little swans, I call out, and they flock to me, giggling. Their trust is absolute, the way mine used to be. I'll teach them technique, but more than that, I'll teach them to trust themselves. To know their own bodies so well that when something feels wrong, they'll speak up. They'll fight. We start with plies, the foundation of everything. Bend and rise, bend and rise. In the mirror, I catch sight of myself. Thinner than before, marked by the battle, but standing. Still standing. Miss Elena? Sophie asks, all of 6 years old and fearless. Why do you have those marks on your arms? The scars from the IV lines, from the blood draws, from the nights I scratched at skin that felt like it was burning from the inside. I could lie, make up a story about a costume mishap or a stage accident. Instead, I kneel down to her level. Someone hurt me once, I say simply. But I got better, and now I'm strong. She nods solemnly, then throws her small arms around my neck. I'm glad you're strong. Me too, baby. Me too. The afternoon stretches on. We work through the basics, these tiny dancers and their broken teacher. Every tendu, every port de bras, every small triumph over gravity is a victory. Not the kind that earns standing ovations, but the kind that builds a life worth living. When the parents arrive, chattering about carpools and soccer practice, I see myself in some of them. The exhaustion, the trying to hold it all together, the fear that they're not enough. I make a point to tell each one something good about their child. A moment of grace, a flash of determination, evidence that their little swan is growing wings. Mrs. Chen, no relation to Marcus, though the name still makes me flinch, lingers after the others leave. My daughter talks about you constantly, she says. You've given her such confidence. She's giving it to herself, I correct gently. I'm just showing her where to look. This is what Isabella never understood. Power isn't about taking from others. It's about helping them find their own strength. She could have been brilliant. She was brilliant. But she used it all for destruction. After everyone leaves, I stay in the studio. The setting sun turns the mirrors gold, and for a moment, I let myself dance. Not the technical perfection of my Chicago days, but something rawer, more honest. A dance for every woman who's been told she's crazy. For every truth dismissed as delusion. For every sister who chose poison over love. My phone buzzes. An unknown number, but I recognize the area code. Cook County Jail. I don't answer. Isabella has nothing left to say that I need to hear. She took 5 years of my life, my ability to bear children, my career, my faith in family. But she didn't take this. My ability to choose who I let into my world. The phone stops ringing. In the silence, I hear it. The echo of 1,000 rehearsals, a million pleas, all leading to this moment. Not the stage I imagined, but the one I needed. Tomorrow, I'll teach another class. Help another little girl find her balance. Add another small, good thing to the world Isabella tried to make ugly. Carlos texts as I'm locking up. A simple check-in, the kind we do now. You okay? Yes, I write back. And for the first time in years, I mean it completely. The truth is, I'm more than okay. I'm alive, scarred, changed, but alive. My little swans will grow up knowing their worth. The women helped by Marcus's Guilt Money Foundation will find safety. Isabella will serve her time behind bars instead of wedding aisles. And me? I'll keep dancing in my small studio, teaching tiny humans to fly. I'll drink coffee without fear, accept kindness without suspicion, and build a life that's mine alone. The invitation is probably still in the trash, soaking up coffee stains and rejection. Let it rot there. I have better things to do than attend imaginary weddings or mourn real betrayals. I have a life to live, ballet shoes to order, bills to pay, students to teach. A body that's mine again, finally, fully mine. The streetlights flicker on as I walk to my car. In shop windows, I catch glimpses of myself, not the prima ballerina I was, but the survivor I've become. Both versions are true. Both are me. Back in my apartment, small, simple, but truly mine, I put on Swan Lake, not to torture myself with memories, but to remember why I loved it in the first place. The music swells, and I close my eyes, feeling every note in my bones. I was Odette. I am Odette. Not because I'm fragile or tragic, but because I transform. Every night, cursed to be something I'm not. Every morning, fighting to break free. The curse broke me, yes, but I broke it right back. My phone lights up with emails. Parents asking about summer intensive programs. A physical therapist wanting to partner on classes for injured dancers. Normal problems. Beautiful, ordinary life, continuing despite everything. 5 years ago, I thought love meant someone catching you when you fall. Now I know better. Love is learning to catch yourself. It's Carlos, checking in without expecting anything back. It's my students, trusting me with their dreams. It's me, choosing to wake up tomorrow and teach another class. The music builds to the finale. In the original, Odette dies. But there are versions where she lives, where breaking the curse means freedom, not death. I pull out my laptop and start typing. Not a response to Isabella's fake invitation, but something else. A blog post maybe, or the beginning of a memoir. Something for all the Odettes out there, dying nightly in their own stories, waiting for someone to tell them they can write a different ending. To anyone reading this who feels like they're drowning in someone else's poison, the bitter tea isn't love. The dizzy spells aren't your fault. The person saying you're crazy might be the one making you sick. Trust your body. It knows the truth even when your heart doesn't want to believe it. And if you've already fallen, if you're reading this from a hospital bed or a psychiatric ward or the floor of an apartment that used to feel like home, you can get back up. Different maybe, scarred, definitely. But standing, take the class, make the call, document everything. Find your Carlos, the person who sees what's happening and helps you see it too. Build your case carefully, quietly, with the precision of a dancer learning choreography that will save her life. You don't need a prince. You need a good lawyer, a toxicology report, and the kind of anger that burns clean. Love, Elena. Once a swan, always a swan. Just not the dying kind anymore. I hit publish without overthinking it. Somewhere, maybe, another Odette will read it. We'll recognize the bitter taste in her tea. We'll get tested before it's too late. The rain starts again, gentler now. Seattle's gift to those of us who've learned to dance in storms. I make myself dinner. Real food, no mysterious supplements, and eat while watching my students' recital videos. Their joy is infectious, unmarred by the weight of what they haven't lived yet. My hands shake slightly as I wash the dishes. Some damage is permanent. The doctors explained it carefully. Cumulative exposure, systemic impact, cellular changes that can't be undone. I'll never dance professionally again. Never have children. Never trust as easily as I once did. But I can hold a coffee cup steady enough to drink. Can demonstrate a proper arabesque. Can spot a lie before it poisons me. Before bed, I check my blog. Already, comments are appearing. Women sharing their own stories. Recognizing the patterns. Finding strength in someone else saying it first. Thank you for speaking up. I thought I was going crazy. Getting tested tomorrow. My sister. It was my sister too. This is why we tell our stories. Not for sympathy or revenge, but for the next woman stirring bitter tea, wondering why love tastes like metal in her mouth. I turn off the lights, check the locks twice. Some habits die hard, and get ready for bed. Tomorrow is Saturday. Jazz class for the teenagers, contemporary for the adults, private lessons in the afternoon. A full day of teaching bodies to move with intention, to claim space, to trust their own strength. In bed, I stretch my feet, pointing and flexing out of habit. The muscle memory remains even when the muscles themselves have been weakened. We are more than our damage, more than what was taken, more than who tried to break us. The invitation is definitely in the landfill by now. Isabella, in her cell, waiting for a response that won't come. Marcus, in his sickbed, learning too late that truth matters more than comfort. And me, I'm here, in my small apartment with its double locks and careful routines, building something new from the ashes of what was burned. Not a phoenix. That's too grand. Just a woman who learned the hard way that sometimes your own blood is poison, and the only antidote is distance. The rain patters against my window like tiny fingertips tapping out rhythm. In 6 hours, I'll wake up, shower without fear of what's in the soap, drink coffee I made myself, drive to the studio where small hands wait to learn what strength looks like. They'll call me Miss Elena. They'll show me their wobbly releves and proud grand jetés. They'll trust me to catch them if they fall, and I will, every time. Because that's what you do when someone trusts you with their body, their balance, their belief that the world is safe enough to dance in. I didn't get my fairy tale ending. The prince chose wrong. The evil sister won for a while. The swan almost died for real. But I'm still here, still teaching, still dancing in my own small way. And tomorrow, when Sophie asks if swans can fly for real, I'll tell her the truth, only if they survive the story first. Outside, Seattle sleeps under its blanket of rain. Somewhere, Carlos is probably checking his phone, making sure I answered. Marcus is dying slowly in a bed he chose over truth. Isabella is counting days in a cell that fits her better than any wedding dress. And I'm about to sleep peacefully for the first time in years. No bitter tea, no mysterious lotions, no sister's love turned lethal. Just me, my memories, and the absolute certainty that tomorrow I'll wake up. I'll teach, I'll dance, I'll live. The invitation was wrong about one thing. This isn't an ending. It's finally, truly, the beginning.